Okay, so I've just got them in my dry tub. So yeah, I stuck that one together on the wheels. I'm going to do the wheels on this in a moment. Mainly because I thought I was going to do them all one matte black, but then I looked at the colouring. By the time I actually put it together, I found out that there was actually a mix of gloss and black. So there's a 50-50 mix of gloss and black. So that's I'll get the number for you. So that's number 35 gloss. There you can see that on there. Number 35 gloss on that one. So so I had to do that. So again, you learn, don't you? So okay, so I mean that's not done too bad. The gloss effects on that's really, really good. I'm really impressed with that actually. I'm really chuffed. So yeah, so I mean that's not done too bad. So I'm gonna spray these wheels up now whilst I'm here. So again, because I've already painted this one, I don't want to wreck the paint on it. It's good top tip if you're using the clamp. I've got a couple of clamps here with some rubber tips on them. So these will protect your model as you're painting if you've got anything that you've already done and you're not having metal on plastic. So hopefully that should be okay. So I'm just going to do that. So what I will do is I will put a little bit of tape around this just to protect the gloss, because obviously I don't want the matte black bleeding over on these. There we go. I've already got some mixing here. A good top tip when you're actually mixing, if you've got a big full pot, always make sure you've got your lid handy. It goes on top. Because I always do it, I always forget, and I always end up having spills. And obviously when you spill on your airbrush, it goes into all your mechanism and things, and you've got then a world of pain trying to clean it all up and get it working again. And then obviously in the meantime you've got more chance of breaking your tips and your nozzles and your actual rods and things inside. So just be careful. Okay, so again I'm far away when I'm spraying. Once I've got a coat on it, I'll let that dry a little bit with the air, so I get air, and then pull back a little bit. What you do have on these, well, what you do have on these, you do have a stop tap. So if you've got a certain way, so instead of putting any air on, if you know where you want to be, you can screw this in, and to the point where you want to stop to, and because it'll push it forward like that. You can see this. But yeah, it'll push your nozzle forward, so if you know that there's an area where you need to be and a pressure that you want and a flow that you need, you can screw that in to give you a better flow. So you can pull right back and not worry about overspray. Obviously when you get used to it you probably won't need it as much, but it is good, especially, I mean I still do use it. It's it does get, it does have definitely its uses, especially if you know that you're doing something very delicate and you want to be really, really close. You backed all your air off using the front or on the actual unit itself, and you want to get really close in something, and and you want to do some really fine detail with the airbrush that you couldn't get with an actual a hairbrush rather than an airbrush, a hairbrush. So, okay, that's pretty much done now. Right, so there we go. Like that. That's enough. Okay, so yeah, so I've got that all painted up now. You can see that on the camera. So, okay, so what you want to do as well with enamel, what you use when you mask. If you let it dry and you take off the mask, it'll chip the paint away. So instead of peeling it, it'll tear it. So you end up having jagged edges. That's what I found on a lot of things, especially if you're using things like Mr. Masking Oil. Mr. Mascot. So if you're using things like this, obviously, whilst it's still damp, then take it off if you can. You know, because it'll give you a neater edge rather than trying to let it dry. Obviously, do be careful. Take your time with it when you do, if you're using things like that. Just to, you know, just to give it a little bit of, you know, you're not rushing it, so you're not tearing it inadvertently. So okay, so that's come off. So okay, so what I have done there, I have missed a little bit of the gloss, but it's not too much. So right, I did miss a bit of gloss in there. Oh, you can see that. So look a bit. There's a bit of gloss I missed in there, but hey ho. So okay, so that one's all done now. So yeah, so I've got those all together. So I'm gonna let these dry, and then I'm gonna paint, and then I'm gonna paint on the insides of the wheels as well. I think what number are we on those? I think that's number 11. So, but I mean, you don't have to follow it. You can, you know, if you prefer white on your wheels, and then do it, you know. So what I'll probably do, I do have a different, I have a gunmetal one. So that one there, 53. So I do have a gunmetal one, which I'll probably use that. Maybe, I don't know yet. I'll see how it looks. But yeah, so again, I'll mask off the wheels and I'll spray them up. Yeah, so you can use a fine brush to do them, but again, it's your own preference really. So yeah, okay, right. So I've got those up and let them dry, and I'll see you in a bit. Hi guys, okay, right, welcome back. Right, so okay, I've managed to get all the wheels and all the landing gear all painted up nicely. So I'll just show you here. So okay, so. First I just got these in a bit of blue tack. So these are still obviously been drying still at the minute. So what I've done here, so you can see, I've managed to paint all the middles of the wheels, all the wheel alloys up now. So I did do this with a brush, just I think it was it 0.0, something like that. Or what we've got here. Normally they usually tell you on what they've got on these. This is just an Umbrella 4001. So I just did this very, very lightly. Now, big tip is, if you're doing those and doing the wheels, not to put too much paint on. So put a bit on your brush, and then just take it off on a tissue. So basically, you're nearly doing a dry brush technique, and so then just build it up slowly as you're doing those doing the wheels. So those are quite nice. So these are obviously still waiting to go in now. So now I've got to the point now where through the actual stage of the model where I need to do all the underside sections. So obviously this is the underside section. So I'll do all this probably in a different part. So so the next step for me now to do is to always think, right, well, you know, I need to actually start painting the actual main part, the actual Vulcan now. So because I don't want to have all the bits underneath all protruding as I'm painting, I want to be able to, you know, stand it up and leave it flat, and because otherwise you're just going to end up wrecking what you've already painted. So this is the point now where I need to think, right, okay, I need to actually start masking the actual plane up, and starting to do the painting. So method behind it will be to if you've already got any perspex or any windows that are obviously you don't want to paint, use a mask or make sure you get them masked away first. And obviously it will come to the cockpit now. There's a couple of different methods with this. So you can paint this first, mask up this and do the paint, or you can mask this up, glue this in position, mask it, then mask it up, and then paint the whole model with this actually fixed in place. This would be probably quite a good idea for this particular model, is because the majority of this is going to be covered anyway. So it's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be all translucent. It's not going to be, you know, you see, you're only going to have these window sections. So what I will probably do is get this masked up first with probably some mascot, or whatever method you prefer, and then fix this in position, let that dry, and then you can go around and do all the panel lines. So I'm going to get that done now. So I'm going to get this masked up, get this in position, and I'm going to start to go through all the panel lines, and I'll go through the panel lines in a different section with you. Okay, well, take care. Hi everyone, back again. Right, okay, so I've been having a bit of a play around with this, trying to get this all maxed up. Okay, so I went through trying to use the 1mm, 2mm tape. Unfortunately, the windows were really too small to even do that. So what I've done, I just replaced some mask on these. This is drying at the moment. This is still quite wet. So so I managed to basically what I've just done is to just use an old brush. This is an old brush of mine that I use for doing this. It's just to dab a little bit in this and just go through as far as you can, as close to the edge as you can, to each window segment within this. This stuff's self leveling, so if you have it at an angle, it won't come back. It will try and settle into the corner. So you're probably better off leaving it upside down if you can, so it will actually centre in the middle a little bit more, or you can leave it, try and get it perfectly flat. So if you've got the windows this way, so I'd leave them that way on, so leave it and let it settle this way. So that's what I'm going to do with these ones. So I'm going to leave that there a moment. So the next step is to basically go through the rest of the plane now. So my next step now is to do all the panel lines for the model. So there's a couple of different methods you can use. You can go through with an airbrush and just a black mat and go through each of the panel lines. So so each on here you have panel lines and to give you the different segments of the actual craft. So you can do that, or you can go around with a permanent marker and do that, depending on what you find easier to do. So if you've not got an airbrush, then yeah, obviously I would recommend to probably go through go over the panel lines with probably a permanent marker, so you can pick them out. So when you come to do the airbrushing, well, when you come to do the rest of the paint the model, you can do that. If you are just using a brush to paint it, I would probably, with this being a raised one, so I would probably just go over it with your colour if you're using a brush, and then pick out your panel lines afterwards, just using a dry brush technique, because this is raised on this, so you might be able to find this a bit easier. But there's different ways of doing it, doing the panel lines and on this. So again, it's down to however you find what's easy for yourself. But there's a couple of tips there for you what you can use. So I'm gonna get this prepped up now, ready to the panel lines. So I shall catch you in a bit.